This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Click It or Ticket. Coming up on Destructoid, horseback combat is charging into Skyrim. Panzer Dragoon fans are probably going to like the look of Crimson Dragon and get in the zone of the Enders.
What?
Because Kojima has a new Zone of the Enders game in the works. Plus, we are giving away some Modern Warfare 3 DLC codes right now on Destructoid Live. Welcome to Destructoid. I am Max Scoville.
And I am Anthony Carboni, filling in for Tara Long, who was just a beautiful dream the whole time. She wasn't even real.
The phone calls were coming from inside the house.
Contest!
Yeah, we're having a contest today. I know that Tara's not in today, which probably makes you guys want to go on a terrifying rampage, but that's okay because... Not in real life. No.
Okay.
We have a pile of codes for Modern Warfare 3 Content Pack number 2 for the Xbox 360. This, of course, is the latest big update to Modern Warfare 3 that includes 3 new multiplayer maps, 2 new special ops missions, as well as the face-off mode, which allows for 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2 battles. Normally this would cost you $15, but fuck that, you guys hang with us, so that's you can have that for free because
you're
you
cool
watch our
now.
show. All you have to do is get up on the Twitter and tweet, "I'm watching at Dtoid Show live" to win hashtag MW3DLC on youtube.com/Dtoid. And be sure you are following us, otherwise we won't know that you actually like us, and we'll get
smile
so
while you're
sad.
doing it,
You have
we can
to
tell.
You have to clap and wish, otherwise Tinkerbell will die. But yeah, we'll announce 5 winners at the end of the show, and then we will give away 5 codes via Twitter all weekend long. So, you know, those of you who didn't get to watch this live, who aren't watching it right now, will get to enjoy the game.
But they are, no matter whether they're watching it live or not, they are watching right now.
Yes, right, exactly. Oh, my head hurts now.
I nearly dropped my bong just then.
Damn. So now, for those of you watching us live, feel free to shoot in questions in the chat. We'll answer those at the end of the show. Don't make me giggle. You're gonna make me giggle. Before we get started, I figure it would be worth giving a little PSA to Indie Game, the movie.
Yes, sir.
Which is a movie about indie games.
Believe it.
And it's coming soon to places where you can get it. It's available for pre-order on iTunes as well as on Steam. And there's also a DVD and Blu-ray version coming out. And apparently it's going to be in some theaters too, so check your local listings or the internet, which is probably faster than local listings, whatever that means. This is all happening on June 12th. Anthony, you're in the film.
I am in the movie. There are a lot of good people in the movie. John Holmes is in the movie.
He's an evil, black-hearted man.
No!
Yes.
Don't even, not even a jest about John Holmes.
I'm kidding.
Stop it.
But I still haven't seen this myself.
It's an awesome, awesome movie. It tells the story of Super Meat Boy getting made. It tells the story of Fez getting made. It talks about Braid.
Talks about how ever since Phil Fish shaved his beard, he's a racist.
But it's a really amazing movie. I think not just for people who love video games and want to know what it's like to just put together your own video game and like put everything into it, but it's also just great to show to your friends and family who just don't get the game thing.
Yeah.
Because it's just a really beautiful documentary. I loved it.
It's cool. So, speaking of indie gaming, you guys might remember a quaint little game that came out last November called The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Art game.
Yeah, right? It was really, I mean, it received
went right
really
over my head.
Really well critically, but I mean, there was like no buzz for it. And anyway, Bethesda Softworks, the tiny Maryland-based indie studio that produced this game, is still hard at work trying to improve it. And with the latest patch, they've added something that might get some people excited. Horseback combat.
You have to wear a horse on your back.
That sounds painful. That's right, guys, though. With patch 1.6, Skyrim will now allow you to hit stuff while riding on top of a horse.
Oh.
Yep. This patch is now in beta on Steam, but will soon be coming to all platforms. We actually played around a little bit with yesterday afternoon. We hit this ice troll with a mace that has some fire powers.
So satisfying just to run around him and you're just like, you can't touch me. You can't touch me.
It's like polo. Look at it. But yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. You can attack stuff while you're on a horse, which is, and you can use weapons to do that. This works for melee weapons in either hand, and bows can be used while on horseback, but unfortunately there's no magic, probably because it scares the horses. Really, maybe it's just probably weird things where the horses catch fire and then they just stay on fire. I don't know.
That would be amazing.
Horses are afraid of fire, but they love sugar cubes. Anyway, patch 1.6 is also fixing numerous bugs the game has, including some weirdness with the Xbox 360 Kinect voice commands. There's no date for when this will be available for everyone, but if any PC users want to kill some stuff while they're on a horse, they can go opt into the update 1.6 beta on Steam. I mean, it's Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's people complain about it being broken and buggy, and
which
those
is
PS3
valid
users
in a way.
are right. But for the rest of us, I mean, they're still trying to fix it.
It's broken but enjoyable, and they keep
up.
making it less broken and more enjoyable.
Well, more than that, they're adding new stuff. They added voice commands, and they added horseback combat, like we just saw with the horses. Do you like the horses? I like the horses. I'm sorry.
They're so soothing to have around.
That could very easily have been like paid DLC, but instead, I mean, they have DLC coming out really soon. Presumably, they're going to show it at E3, I guess. But I mean, they're like, here, you've been playing the same game for 6 months.
We got to put this bug fix out. Let's also give them this.
It's awesome. It's great. But you know, maybe they're just trying to cash in on the horseback combat we saw in the Black Ops 2 trailer. You know?
I think the night vision goggles are coming next.
I'm looking forward to the AR drones.
Airstrike.
Yeah, calling in an airstrike on you know, Whiterun, whatever.
If you are a fan of robots and fun, and were not born after 2001, then you probably love Zone of the Enders. If you were born after 2001, I am required by law to keep my distance from you. Anyway, the Zone of the Enders games were these sweet robot action games for the PS2, created by none other than our Lord and Master, Hideo Kojima. Zone of the Enders HD collection has been anticipated for some time, and at a preview event in Japan, Konami announced a Japanese release date for the 360, PS3, and Vita, October 25th. So at this point, I am already freaking out because I love these games, and I am desperately in need of stuff to play on my Vita. But that is not even the big news, you guys. A new Zone of the Enders game is officially in the works. It's just in the planning stages right now. There are no details, but here's something kind of badass. The design team is building actual models of the characters and then using 3D scanners to put them in the game.
What a bunch of nerds.
So this is like sitting at home putting together Gundams and Veritechs, but you make 6 figures a year and Hideo Kojima buys you a Coke when you do it right.
I'm so jealous.
This is like the best job.
Dude, I have like a half-finished master grade GPO 3S sitting on my table at home.
Well, maybe if you ever followed through and finished that, you could work for Hideo Kojima.
But I'm so busy reporting on things, it's not fair.
More details on the new game, and also the sweet lives of game designers as we get them.
God, let's take a break for questions.
Questions.
We got some good ones here. Let's see. Inzeister says, Anthony Carboni, where can I procure this t-shirt? And before you answer, Jambi62 answers, he says, I have that shirt, I bought it on T-Fury.
Yeah, so basically, you can't anymore. It was like a one-day shirt thing.
So much for that idea.
I'm sure it'll show up, like most of these T-Fury shirts show up if you follow the artist on Redbubble like a couple weeks later. You can probably find this.
Yeah, I have the Skyrim Fusroda shirt that disappeared.
I think it was the same guy.
We got a question.
We have a question. Did you know that we have shirts?
We have Rev3 Game shirts.
You could buy those. We can send you to buy those.
I feel a little bit whorish. Like, oh, you like that shirt? Well,
we have a robotic implant that tells us to sell.
It controls
and it just
us
popped
with
in,
things.
and I was like, I must tell you about. No, they're good shirts. I have one.
No, they're cool. It's difficult though because you have a green screen for a lot of your show,
so I can't actually wear
like
it
invisible chest
logo.
cavity. We got one question.
It's where my heart should be.
In what upcoming games do you want horse combat? This is from Arcane 9.
Horse combat. Prototype 2. What game wouldn't benefit from a little horse combat?
I think horses could probably be great in everything, probably. Awesome.
I want the horses to actually just get on their hind legs and start slapping at each other.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, horses. Anyway, Steel Battalion needs horses, I think. That was our producer.
The giant mech rides on two tiny horses.
Where you control a horse, but not Fable the Journey. I mean where you are like, you have to pretend you're the horse and you're like that the whole time.
Not a Kinect game where you brush a horse and sort of generally
you can feed the horse sugar cubes by holding your hand out to the television.
I can't wait to quit this place.
Thank you, Peter Molyneux. So I'm going to preface this next story by saying that yes, I know there are way too many games about zombies and too many games that have dead in the title.
Preach.
With that being said, Deadlight is a game about zombies that looks really, really, really good. A trailer showed up today for this upcoming XBLA title, and I want it. I want it so bad. Deadlight is a side-scrolling survival horror platformer that follows the post-apocalyptic adventures of one Randall Wayne as he makes his way through the zombie-infested Pacific Northwest circa 1986.
That's like the most generically zombie game description.
I would have also accepted Undead and Wasteland. Did I say Wasteland? Anyway, that's I think that's a pretty good combination. You get the zombies and then the mid-'80s and the Pacific Northwest, and it's just like, get sad, everybody. So all jokes aside, the game looks really cool. It looks awesome.
It does.
It's got a great visual style where like the stuff in the foreground is all dark, like in Limbo, and it's all silhouetted, and the background is all gorgeous and 3D and beautifully lit, like in Shadow Complex, which is awesome. So everything's in really sharp contrast. And in place of cutscenes, you got these hand-drawn animated motion panel comic things, which I think that'll be a good draw for the Walking Dead crowd. Not the actual Walking Dead, but fans of the show and the comics. Deadlight is the first game to come from Tequila Works, which is a studio based in Madrid, and it's slated for release sometime later this summer, and I really want to play it. I mean, I
like the look of this despite what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I've got so much zombie fatigue now.
Yeah, it could be anything though.
Yeah.
You could pretend that they're just monsters maybe.
I'll tell you the one thing that I don't like, and this has never worked for me, is motion comics as cutscenes.
No, it's true.
I can't get behind them. They never connect with me.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't mind them per se, but
especially in this game where everything looks so detailed and beautiful, to cut to those like black and white kind of like like motion comics, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see though.
I think a lot of people who like Walking Dead will probably get into it, but I mean, yeah, it's like I said, Limbo and Shadow Complex, two of my favorite things combined in that, so I'm curious to see this, and I'm always a sucker for kind of side-scrolly exploration things.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Hope for the best on that one. Anthony, did some of your dreams come true today?
Almost all of them. So we already knew that the HD version of Sega Classic and insane 2000 era time capsule Jet Set Radio was coming for the PC, the PS3, and the 360. And that is a wonderful thing. Here's an even more wonderful thing. Sega just announced that it is also coming to the Vita. So not only do I get to dig up my old Jinkos and play one of my favorite games, I now get to wear those Jinkos in public, Max, which is probably pretty ill-advised at this point, but I don't even care. You got a wallet chain for those bad boys? Yeah, you know I do.
Word.
Word. The Vita version will, of course, be adding fancy future controls. You'll move and touch it. We don't know why, but they say that something about it is supposed to make tagging feel more natural. They also mentioned that the Vita camera is going to be used, and I'm guessing that is going to be to create custom tags from images, which was one of my favorite things about the original Dreamcast one, was you downloaded a JPEG to your VMU unit, and then that was what you tagged the city with.
You know what? I'm willing to bet that the spray painting, you're going to go like that.
You know, Max,
you're going to go like that. You're going to go like that on the Vita screen.
Who do you think you are? Proctor? You think you're some industry revolutionary prophet? You're right. You're right. They haven't said it, but you're right. In case you're wondering whether you've stepped into some alternate timeline where Sega consoles actually got the respect they deserved, let me confuse you even more by showing you this trailer for Crimson Dragon. What? So this is the new game by Yukio Futatsugi, the guy behind Phantom Dust, and pretty obviously also Panzer Dragoon. I love this. This is like when Child of Eden came out last year and Mizuguchi was all like, nah, it's not Rez 2. We would never make a Rez 2. But do you like Rez? Are you into Rez? So there you go, Jet Set Radio Vita and Panzer Dragoon Kinect. I'm just gonna dust off my old Welcome to the Next Level shirt and just rep the Saturn from here on out.
Speaking of shirts and repping things, you guys should actually check out our Rev3 Games shirt channel, which is rev3games.spreadshirt.com. We have a really good question here from Treed101. Anthony, what indie game should I be playing right now, not Fez?
What indie game should you be playing right now, not Fez? Oh God, why did my mind just blank out?
Skyrim.
Skyrim, you should probably be Skyrim or Max Payne 3 by a little studio.
Diablo 3.
You know what's embarrassing is coming up on E3 and everything, I'm actually going back and like playing all this massive AAA stuff right now, which is it's not embarrassing in and of itself, but that's like all I'm doing right now, so I haven't had time for any indie stuff.
That happens.
But there was a free one that was released like last week or 2 weeks ago called You Have to Win the Game. If you haven't played that one yet, it's very like a throwback to old Commodore and like, what's the name of the English version of the Commodore? Like a Sinclair?
Oh God, I can't pronounce that.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
But anyway, it's a lot like those games. Check that one out. You Have to Win the Game.
Oh, You Have to Win the Game. Very simple. Okay, on that note, let's take a word from our sponsor. Guys, I don't want you to die. Dying is stupid, and therefore,
it's the worst.
So is not wearing your seatbelt. As you might have noticed, summer is here, and people are bound to be driving around like idiots because it's nice outside, and therefore that means they can be dumb. So from May 21st to June 3rd, 2012, state and local law enforcement agencies across America are going to be cracking down on anyone on the road without a seatbelt on. Did you know that in 2009, seatbelts saved an estimated 12,713 lives nationwide? Again, that's over 12,000 people.
That is a lot of people.
Who are not dead because they wore seatbelts.
It's just right there on the chair.
It's pretty easy. You don't have to sign up for anything. It's a seatbelt. You can wear it.
If you don't put it on, your car will actually make annoying noises at you to remind you that you don't even have it on.
If you want some more terrifying math, how about this? In 2010, 22,187 people died in car crashes, and 51% of them were not wearing seatbelts. So,
which means the last thing they heard before they died was that annoying bing, bing, bing. Yeah. Just put it on.
Just put on a seatbelt. Just do that, and we'll feel better about it. Just please do that. Anyway, moving on to the show.
We're doing a show.
Yeah, in case you missed the opening of the show, we're actually doing a contest today.
Where are we?
You have to tweet out this thing, because we're giving away Modern Warfare 3 DLC packs for the maps and things. All you have to do is say, I'm watching Dtoid Show live to win hashtag MW3DLC on youtube.com/Dtoid. It's a very elaborate trick to make other people follow us on Twitter and watch the show.
Don't tell them, though.
Yeah, so anyway, back to the news.
Yes.
I think it was last week we reported on the extremely messed up situation with 38 Studios, the guys who made Kingdoms of Amalur, owing the state of Rhode Island over $1 million, or having a check for $1 million that they couldn't pay out of a $75 million loan they'd taken out, which
they've been paying it back in installments.
Really can't pay. Well, shit got really ugly yesterday when it was announced that the entire 38 Studios and big, huge game staff had been laid off. That's like over 400 full-time employees with families and benefits and kids and shit like that. And they suddenly don't have jobs. Yeah. Kotaku received a tip from one of the 38 employees claiming that no one had received a paycheck since April 30th, and that they'd found out they weren't being paid on May 15th when no checks went into their accounts. Not like through a memo. That was the first way they found out. They also found out their medical insurance was being cut off when one employee's pregnant wife was told by her doctor. At this point, the company had not been communicating these things with their employees. Following that, Gamasutra got a hold of a memo that was sent out eventually to all the employees, which read, the company has experienced an economic downturn. To avoid further losses and the possibility of retrenchment, the company has decided that a company-wide layoff is absolutely necessary. These layoffs are non-voluntary and non-disciplinary. This is your official notice of layoff, effective today, Thursday, May 24th, 2012. Ugh. Ouch. Yeah. That sucks. It gets worse, though. Rhode Island's Governor Chaffee was holding a press conference yesterday on account of them giving out that whole $75 million loan and it actually being a really serious state matter now.
Yeah.
He was addressing the situation, and after being asked about the layoffs by journalists at the press conference, it was a surprise to him. No one had told him. He'd been talking to people from 38, like the higher-ups and Kurt Schilling the day before, and he didn't know. Like, they didn't, Schilling, meanwhile, recently tweeted that Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning sold 1.2 million copies, exceeding EA's expectations. Unfortunately, experts are saying that Amalur would have had to sell 3 million copies to break even.
That's so few games sell that many copies.
Yeah. Also, just to put it in perspective, it's, what is it? It's the end of May right now.
Yeah.
This came out February 7th, I think. Like, this came out the beginning of February. That's like
3 million copies in like 3 months.
What? Yeah, it's terrifying. It's horrible. It's disgusting.
Nearly impossible.
And if that wasn't bad enough, the fallout from this could affect everybody in Rhode Island, like every taxpayer, because if no one's able to pay it back, then that comes out of their taxes for like the next, like almost a decade, I think.
Yeah.
And it gets worse too, because there was a story that just showed up before we started doing the show about how apparently they relocated people from 38 from Massachusetts to Rhode Island, and they all had houses in Massachusetts.
And 38 was like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set you up in a house, and we're going to sell your old house for you and use that money for your new house.
Yeah.
No. Nobody sold those old houses.
Right.
They were never sold.
So now these guys are getting second mortgages.
But also, there's another thing that's going on where if any of the loan money was used to relocate these employees, they actually are in default of the loan anyway. Because a lot of this is what's messed up about this whole situation, is this was a government loan. Kurt Schilling, 38 Studios, they go to the government of Rhode Island and they say, we're going to create this company that's going to create a tech and gaming industry for you in Rhode Island. Okay? And in exchange, you will give us $75 million. Okay? And the state of Rhode Island was like, fine, but these have to be Rhode Island jobs. And they relocated, and they paid with that money to relocate all these people, which is completely in defiance of the loan. And there's like so much mismanagement going on everywhere here, because obviously the state government had no idea how the video game industry worked, did not get the right advisors on board on their end. To know that 3 million copies in 3 months is not a thing. 400 employees right out of the gate is not a thing that you should do.
Nope.
And then obviously
they had big names. I mean, they had Kurt Schilling, who's a great pitcher. Maybe not so much an expert on the video game stuff. Maybe not just. And then you've got Todd McFarlane, who's a great comic book artist, but again, maybe not so much in the way of video games. And then, R.A. Salvatore, who writes lots of good books, but again, video game stuff. Maybe, and you're not really a veteran in that industry.
And this is the thing, is like Salvatore and McFarlane were just brought in as consultants on this game. Obviously, at a very huge expense. These are not guys who are cheap to hire. I think there were so many instances of 38 just really putting the cart before the horse.
This is the car built for Homer.
It really is.
This is a ridiculously, I mean...
They built this giant world.
We were both lukewarm about the game.
Yeah.
It's a very competently made game, but as far as, it came out 3 months after Skyrim, which was you know, massive and huge and eagerly anticipated. This is a new IP that was sort of trying to go up against that. It was bad timing all around. And
well, not only that, but this was clearly, when you play it and when you look back and you look at their business plan, they weren't. They put out Amalur and they're like, great, Amalur, but everything that they were investing in was for these future games that were nowhere near done. Apparently,
Project Copernicus, the MMO they're working on, is supposed to come out, and there are people who are like, yeah, Kurt, like, can we do this? You know, I really hope this happens. And it's like, how about we maybe get those people some jobs, you know?
Yeah. How about we maybe didn't put all this money into consultants and a game that was not our main focus when we have $75 million to pay back?
Yeah, it's you know.
It all just ends up being bad for Rhode Island. It ends up being bad for these people. It's huge. It's
writing a check your ass can't cash. Yeah. Is what it is. However, there is a bright side to this, sort of. I mean, silver lining, not really. Just. If you guys keep track of anyone in the gaming industry on Twitter, you might have seen the hashtag 38jobs spreading like wildfire as everyone was scrambling to find job listings to help out former employees, which is just sort of heartwarming. It's like the end of, you know, It's a Wonderful Life. And
if there's one nice thing about this, it does show, because I can't remember what else it was, what other studio was laid off or dissolved last year, but the same thing happened. Like, everybody comes out and is like, hey, we have jobs.
Yeah.
Come work for us. Like, this is an industry that really protects its own. So that's the nice thing to come out of it.
There's like, you know, there's petty, snarky, competitive bullshit and stuff, but it's really, when it comes down to the people who do this, they care, they give a shit. Our pal Alex Rubens, who's like, he's like, what, 20 or something? He's like stupidly.
Alex Rubens is 13 years old.
He's a 12-year-old girl, and he fucking got his shit together. And he was like, hey everybody, I'm putting up a Google Doc of all the listings, and he's got like compiled like 2,000 jobs, and it's like, he's a freelancer who writes for different sites, and he just did that for the hell of it.
He just did it because he was like, somebody needs to do this.
And he's gonna get one hell of a job at someday. If he ever needs to call in a favor, that boy, Alex Rubens.
I wouldn't look in Rhode Island right now.
Yeah, no, just don't go to Rhode Island. Don't go there. But that sucks about 38 Studios and big, huge games. And yeah, I hope everyone, you know, lands on their feet, obviously, or at the very least, keys Kurt Schilling's BMW and steals something cool off Todd McFarlane's desk.
He doesn't have anything cool. He just has Alice figures.
Yeah. So yeah, just so we're not ending on a down note, I've saved one very special story for you guys.
I would say that this is the most down note.
This is probably the biggest story of today.
This is the most down note of the show.
Are you ready for today? Harry Potter is coming to the Kinect. Yes, folks, the Harry Potter. And today we've got a very exciting screenshot. Are you ready?
You're the worst.
Are you ready for the screenshot? Here it is. You can harvest mandrakes.
You can use your Kinect to harvest mandrakes.
You are the controller in Professor Sprout's gardening classes with the wizard gardens and the baby roots for 10 points for Hufflepuff, everybody. Good hustle. Now, before we announce the winners of our...
You're the worst person for even putting this in the show.
Look, it's Neville Longbottom.
You didn't even put Harry Potter
Oh my god, I was in tears reading the post about that on Destructoid. It's just... It's Harry Potter for Kinect. It's like, oh, Star Wars Kinect pissed people off. Well, we'll see about that. So
we'll do worse.
Let's see if we have any questions left.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Which of the big three do you think will dominate E3? Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft? Why? This is from Chronos 5618.
Nintendo's got a lot to prove this year, and I really hope that they kind of come out of the gate swinging here. But I don't think they will. It's going to take a lot for Nintendo to impress me.
I have really high hopes for Sony, actually.
I do too.
I think they're sitting on either a pile of Vita games that are going to make us really happy that we have Vitas, or something cool.
Here's the thing. I think Microsoft right now, they're not going to announce new hardware, but they're definitely gearing up. You can tell that they're definitely gearing up. And while that's happening, they're probably not going to keep throwing everything into the old platform. They've got new things to worry about. Yeah. They're still going to do really well. They're still going to show off a lot of great stuff. But Sony, I think, could potentially have the most interesting.
I agree. Here's one. Let's see.
We've got a lot of, by the way, E3 prediction videos coming up for you next week. We're going to run all this stuff down in detail.
Getting hype, as the kids would say. Actually, Jay Hackstore says, can you please show us the chainsaw? The lollipop chainsaw.
Yeah, it's made of foam.
It's very safe. Yeah.
I think it's hand washable.
Yeah, it's a big sponge that they gave us for some reason.
You can put it's like a foam finger that you get at a sporting event.
Go, Juliet Starling's abs! Anyway, one last question. When was the last time you played your Vita, Max? Is it collecting dust like mine? It's from a Prophet of Fortune. Yeah. If you were a Prophet of Fortune, maybe you would have said hold off until a price drop and more games.
I've been playing it a little bit, but I've been playing PSP stuff that I had never played before. Like I'm playing Persona 3 right now.
Yeah, I have an issue with paying full price for PSP games that came out 10 years ago.
I don't if they're still good. If they're still good and they're still fun, I will pay that.
It makes me mad because I know I could get used copies.
But what's funny is the other game that I'm playing is Symphony of the Night, which is like so old. Like you don't even need a Vita to play Symphony of the Night.
Okay, so we got winners for our Modern Warfare 3 contest. Beast Fur, Jam Van, J. Garcia 6, and
are you doing that on purpose, or are these their names?
These are their names. Super Vuvuzela. Wow, that's topical.
It sounded like the way people sound before they have a stroke.
And Dark Slicer 67. You guys all won Modern Warfare 3 codes, so make sure you're following us. We will DM them to you. What should people watch this weekend before we go?
Oh my stars. So yesterday I had Veronica Belmont on New Challenger and we talked about Diablo and how I don't really like Diablo 3. And what's funny is I went into this totally prepared for the entire internet to try to stab me in the eye. But it turns out that like a lot of us were kind of let down by Diablo 3. So that was kind of cool. Well, it's not cool that we were let down, but it's cool that I was not alone like I thought I was. And the other things that we got, Casual Friday yesterday.
Oh, we had fun.
Or Casual Friday today. We talked
about some diapers and some dildos.
We do video game company swag.
Seriously, diapers. I wasn't making that up.
I'm not even going to tell you who we got the diaper from because I'm tired of hyping up their diaper.
Promotional diaper. It's you gave it away.
No, don't put that screenshot.
It's a Planet Side 2 diaper. So go watch that video. That's it for today's show. A big huge thanks to Mr. Anthony Carboni for filling in for Tara.
I'm forced to do it.
Yep.
No,
or you will go to jail hell. Monday's a holiday and the studio is closed, but we have prepared a very special E3 predictions episode. See, E3 predictions, it's coming for you.
I predicted that he would talk about the E3 predictions
that's like a meta E3 predictions
I'm like a
video.
Prophet of Fortune.
Anyway, Tara's back for that one. Well, she never left. We shot it yesterday, but it's good. That'll go up on Monday. As always, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm Max Scoville, and that's an old screenshot of my avatar. And he's Anthony Carboni, A Carboni. That's the one, A Carboni, singular.
But I am also Anthony Carboni.
Right. And then, of course, the show is Detoid Show. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. We love you. And make sure you're following us on Twitter because we got 5 more of those Modern Warfare 3 codes to give away. Be safe.
This is the weirdest thing I've ever done.
Tell your mother I say hello.
No, it's not. Say hi to your mom for me.